Now let's start this show. Steelers by the way. It's time to get that day. James, Cody, Nick, and Jill on the mic. It's about to get real. Keep it live, that's right. From Pennsylvania to across the globe. It's time for this Steelers All-Star Show.
Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by all of my co-hosts, Cody Tanner, Nick Pretzel, and Jill from Ohio. How are you folks doing on this Victory Monday?
It's a Victory Monday. I think I speak for everyone saying we're a little happier than normal. With that being said, listen, we also got the victory early. Before the 1 o'clock game started, we knew. So I am doing great. Jill, how are you?
I am doing fabulous on a Victory Monday. Nick, how are you doing?
So glad to have you back, Jill. Also thriving on this Victory Monday. As Cody said, made the whole weekend a little bit sweeter there when you have the all of Sunday to bask in the glory of the W. In Dub win, James, how are you doing today?
Doing great. We got a little bit of Nostradamus going on in this crew here. Jill nailed the score prediction.
Yep.
And I don't know, I said over 100 yards rushing for the team. We finally got that too. So
yeah, we did not get my 300 yards passing.
No, most of our predictions did not come true, so I'm going to brag about the ones that did.
Right.
But lots going on, and we'll get right into it today with the pre-game stuff. Trey Sermon elevated for the game once again for kick return duties. I thought he represented himself pretty well on kick returns. So I don't mind this, and I think it's a wise move to not put Caleb Johnson back there anymore. So perfectly fine move in my opinion. Inactives for the game. We had Joey Porter Jr. still not 100% yet. Jalen Warren became inactive because of the knee, which was a surprise. Alex Highsmith still out with the ankle. Andres Pete, the healthy scratch, and Esezi Otamewo, the other healthy scratch. So those were your 5 inactives for the game. But you know who else would have been inactive? Skylar Thompson.
Yeah.
That's some craziness. Why we got players getting jumped in Ireland before the game? What the heck?
Yeah, that was very interesting. I really wish we knew more details about that. Because I'm very intrigued on that situation and how that all played out. And was he not with any other players? Why was one player off by himself? What, how does that even happen? So there's a lot of questions in revolving that. So
2:30 in the morning. That's how it happens. Probably most of the guys were already back to the hotel.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I think that was probably an error in judgment on Skylar's part there. I would imagine he was probably with a bunch of teammates earlier in the night and then decided to keep the party going for whatever reason. I guess they shut that down after Friday night, obviously, and nobody was allowed out Saturday night.
Yeah.
But that was my first instinct too, Cody, is why wasn't there at least one lineman with him? You get one offensive lineman or one defensive lineman with these little guys, and you don't have to worry about it. You're not a target anymore. But when you're one guy by yourself who's obviously not from the area, and just the clothes you wear, you're going to stick out. They know you're not from around there, but kind of a bad look for Ireland. And I'm glad that none of the players or coaches took the opportunity to throw that under the bus. Nobody even mentioned it in any of the interviews, so it just kind of got leaked by the media.
Yeah.
And that's a classy move, in my opinion, because it would have been real easy for one of them to be like, what the hell's wrong with these people jumping our players? But I understand that it was also pretty minor. He had no serious injuries. They stole his cell phone. That's all he lost. So in the end, not so bad.
Yeah. But at least he's fine. Everything's good. And that is A-okay for us. And we didn't need him. So there's that. That's a plus. But there's a lot of things to talk about with this game. It was a very enjoyable, I think, process. It was almost weird. I mean, obviously, we don't wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday for football typically.
Right.
But it was very, very strange and very exciting to enjoy that game. And I actually got to watch the game at a place that we all know and love, the Edinburgh Hotel Bar. So
Supporters of Steelers by the Lake podcast include the Edinburgh Hotel Bar, offering free buzzworthy pub trivia every Wednesday at 7 p.m., located at 100 Meadville Street in downtown Edinburgh. More information is available at 814-734-5103 or online at edinburghhotelbar.com.
Yeah, the Edinburgh Hotel Bar is a great place to go enjoy the game. I did not get to hang out with the owner, for he was at the game.
Yeah.
Also got last-minute sideline passes, met James Ferrier, had a really good time there. I'm sure that I'll get stories and stuff whenever he comes back. So shout out to Pat. Hopefully he had a good time. Very last-minute. Overall, everything for him. And he was also highlighted on the news. If you want to see that short 2-minute video, feel free to go check out our Facebook page. It is linked there. As we gave him a shout out, and we appreciate the sponsorship. Let's talk Steelers football. Let's talk about this game and the things that happened, because it was a very eventful game from the very first offensive snap. And we'll get to that a little bit, but wow, I thought we had 7 right off the bat. I was very excited. Didn't happen.
I was worried on that first offensive play, man. When they came with that amoeba look on defense, it completely confused our offensive line. Guy runs right by Isaac Seumalo as he's chasing somebody off to the wrong side of the line. That was very worrisome, especially when they only ended up actually sending 2 people on the play.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, God, man, if they're going to do this all game long, our line might really have a tough time identifying who's coming and who's not. Luckily, that seemed to be the only time they gave us that look the entire game. So, but yeah, that was very worrisome. And I thought that was that first play largely on the shoulders of Isaac Seumalo as he kind of chased somebody out of his area, and then somebody ran right by him as a result of it.
Yeah. But let's break this down the way we normally do. Let's not go too far into it, and we can have our tangents when we get them. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers came out and had a good day. It was hilarious. I sent this to our little group chat that we got to get Jill on. Jill's not on that one. I sent that to the full one, didn't I? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
There's 2 group chats.
There's 2. Well, one's for Madden and
Well, I
one's
was gonna
for-
say y'all talk about Madden. I don't.
we
Yeah.
do.
we also have a TikTok group chat, and I don't know that Jill's in that one. I think that might be the
we'll
better
get
way to
her
send it.
added.
We'll get you there.
Thanks, guys.
But there was I don't even know what you call it. There was a quote. Someone said that Aaron Rodgers came to the game drunk, which was absolutely not
Yeah,
the
that's
case.
not even
Absolutely not the case.
Yeah.
But 18 of
Don't
22
give
for
people
200
any
yards.
kind of yeah.
I mean, it's all over the internet. It's fake news. It doesn't matter. 9.1 average yards per pass or per completion, and then 1 touchdown. 2 sacks, unfortunately, that one on first down, and then 1 later in the game, but only loss of 18 yards. Had an overall very good game, I thought, from Aaron
No
Rodgers.
turnovers.
Yeah, only 4 incomplete passes is an incredible performance. And each one of those, it seemed like he didn't miss the guy by much, a little bit of a timing stuff. And mostly with back of the roster wide receivers, too, where he's got a little better chemistry with DK and Calvin Austin and the tight ends. I know there was one to Scotty Miller, the timing was a little off. One to Ben Skoranek, the timing was a little off, and he was just too far out in front of both of those guys. So I don't know if they didn't break the routes off as fast as he was expecting, or if he just had a couple bad throws, which you're allowed to have when you have 18 out of 22 that are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and realistically should have had 19 out of 22. Caleb Johnson dropped an easy one early.
Yeah.
And I think Jonnu's drop was also an easy one that he just missed. So could have been 20 of 22. Not for much more yards, but still.
Yeah, a lot of Rodgers doing what Rodgers does and just playing clean football, which is, I think, one of the main reasons we brought him in, because he is able to take care of the ball, not turn it over. And when you do that and you have the weapons that we have, like watching DK out there, he just kept making guys miss or running through guys or pulling guys with him as he was going. And that's what we were hoping for and bringing him in as well. So when you can bring a quarterback in that can take care of the ball and get it to guys that can make guys miss or drag guys with them, like we saw Darnell Washington do as well.
And Calvin
Finally getting some of
Austin.
these,
And Calvin Austin.
Calvin
yeah.
Austin
Finally
dragged
getting
the
some of these guys
safety with
involved.
him.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. I'm really good, but I agree. Like, he plays clean football, And the no turnovers, I think, was a huge key into this game going the way that it did.
Yeah.
And just and like you said, like hitting our offensive targets. I feel like each game we start to see more and more of us actually utilizing our offensive targets to like their actual true caliber. Like, I know we'll probably talk injuries a little bit later. We don't know what's going on with Calvin Austin currently, but that play where we got to see DK go down the field, like he did a hell of a run. Like he actually blocked his guy. He took a safety with him. Like he did a lot of the like dirty work so that play could be set up. And I thought that was really one of like his best runs that I've seen. So
Yeah. Oh, it was phenomenal. And let's go ahead, James.
Let's call it what it is. DK doesn't get in the end zone without Calvin Austin's block there.
Literally.
Yeah, because DK would have had 2 or 3 guys trying to hit him at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They would have likely got him to the ground, even though one-on-one guys don't really get DK to the ground. But that was a safety coming over. If anybody's got a good chance of getting him to the ground, that's who it is. And Calvin threw everything he had into that guy, knocked him off balance, made him kind of regain his own composure. And then he had one last ditch effort to try to get DK at like the 1 yard line, at which point you're not stopping him, not with a full head of steam. So yeah, and DK made sure to give Calvin credit for that as well. Just tremendous effort. That's all you can ask for. He's the smallest guy on the field 9 times out of 10. So when you give that kind of effort, man, that gives you so much clout in the locker room with your teammates. They're going to do everything they can for you when they see you giving everything that you've got for them.
Yeah.
So love it. Well, absolutely love it.
Yeah. And I don't want to go too far off we're going to talk about these receivers and everything, but Aaron Rodgers, going back to that, the no turnover game, let's also give him props for showing some capability of getting outside the pocket and scrambling a little bit. And also give a shout out to Broderick Jones for making sure that fumble, lucky freaking bounce. Lucky freaking bounce.
It was
Broderick
lucky.
grabbed that ball and went rolling. And so that was enjoyable to watch, to see that, Aaron Rodgers, hey, he fumbled that ball, but the offensive line, and James talked about it right now, Broderick finally got to see what happens when you keep pursuing a play and giving forth that effort. And he was there to pick that fumble up. And I don't know, did they give him the yards he ran, or was that dead once he picked it up?
No, I don't think you get any credit for yardage on that.
Yeah.
It's kind of lost as far as the additional yardage on that. But what I feel like with Broderick, one thing that he's always had good effort with was when the play's coming to an end, he's always been one of those guys that's been jumping in the pile to try to push the pile. So I've liked his effort throughout the play in that aspect, always kind of chasing after a play. And this just like hammers home every coaching point that you ever could, that you need to be chasing the play. You don't ever just stand around the pile. Because Broderick was following up to see if he could help Aaron Rodgers, it came right into his lap. I mean, a lot of times they say that good luck is where preparation meets hard work. So he was prepared to do it. He'd put the hard work in. He put himself in the right position, and good luck happened because he was doing everything that he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to the offensive line. I only felt one guy had a poor game, and the other 4 I thought were very good in this game. And that one guy was good in the run game, just not as good in the pass game. But yeah, let's not downplay the fact that Aaron Rodgers threw a really nice block in this game too.
Yeah.
There was a play that
for Kenneth Gainwell
got a run to the left-hand side. Connor Hayward unfortunately got absolutely owned, and his guy was in the backfield trying to get Kenny Gainwell to the ground. Here comes Aaron out of nowhere, runs right through the defender and puts him to the ground.
Yeah, just hit checked him.
Almost gets the first because of it. So I love how he did it. He just kind of very casually just kind of ran right through him, put his shoulder into him, and just no big deal.
I feel like this was a phenomenal game, and James is going to say what he's going to say, and that's fine. I was so concerned at the end of that first drive, seeing that 3 and out, and here we go, another Steelers week where we're not prepared, and even the weeks that we've scored on that first possession,
all of them, that is, except for this week,
whatever.
Yeah.
There's been times where I watch the play calling and watch the way those drives happen, And I'm like, we don't look like we're moving on all cylinders. We don't look like we know what the plan was. And that was one of those. Yes, that sack on first down throws your entire script out. Every
Sure
team
does.
comes to the game with a script of the first, 8
20.
to 15 plays. They want 20 plays, whatever they want to run. And that blew it straight up out of the water. But I felt like we didn't respond well to it in the sense of we just kind of said, okay, we're not going to get the first down. On that third and whatever it was, 12, we throw the ball to Jonnu Smith at the yard, like at the line of scrimmage. And so it was frustrating to watch that. But as the game went on, I was very happy to watch and see that the team moved in on all cylinders. The run game was there. We talked about it. It had over 100 yards rushing. The passing game, I mean, for Aaron Rodgers to get 9 different guys involved, I think 9 or 10, was just phenomenal. Back of the roster guys getting at least balls thrown their way. I'm talking targets, not receptions. Reception wise, I think it was only 5 or 6. But when you show that you're throwing the ball to these guys, that you have to block them, you have to take them being on the field seriously. So it was very enjoyable to watch this game kind of progress and see us do the right things. Now the end got scary, but
In true Steeler fashion.
we'll talk Peyton Wilson later. Holy cow. The end got rough, but it was nice to see the offense kind of gel and everyone do their part. Broderick coming up, Aaron blocking, DK doing what DK does on a slant a couple times, Austin being what he was. I mean, it was just really enjoyable to watch, and I was sad Jalen Warren wasn't part of it.
Well, to see the team come together like that, but also the coaching adjust too, because I feel like, to your point, Cody, oftentimes we go out there and the script is the script and we don't deviate and we don't make adjustments.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of shoots us in the foot a little bit. But this game, it seemed a lot more like they were going after what they were seeing. They were making adjustments and they were able to go out and attack what they were seeing as opposed to just going out and doing what they had planned to do. So it seemed to be a lot more of an evolution of this team, which I'm hoping to see continue moving forward and excited about, because dare I say I was excited to watch a Steelers game. Like I felt good. Like, I don't know. I might have to, I'm wearing the Connor jersey. Okay. Every time I've worn the Connor jersey, good things have happened. So we're doing the superstitions. Okay. It's fine. We're fine. But dare I say I was excited to watch a Steelers game.
Listen, I was at the hotel bar and I was actually shocked that 2 of my employees came. I invited them out and we were talking about the same thing of like, it's been a while since we've seen the Steelers play that well. And it was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So
Big
I don't want to go too
difference.
far.
Yeah,
Go
big
ahead.
difference it takes just getting a quarterback with normal capability. We just haven't had it in 5 years. Been dealing with some very subpar play for a long time at the position. And just Aaron meets the standard of what you need there.
Yep.
He doesn't have to be a superstar. This is what we were saying all offseason. We didn't need Aaron Rodgers to come in and be an NFL MVP type guy. We just needed him to throw 30 touchdowns and act like it wasn't a big deal. As to where previously, for whatever reason, getting to 30 touchdowns seemed like it would take an act of God to get there. So, yeah, I was with you, honestly, Cody, after that first drive. That was very frustrating. That 3-and-out was just awful execution.
Oh, you were negative Nancy too, were you?
Well, no, I mean, here's your thing. Like the very first play, it's not that it was a bad play call. You never even got to see what the play call was.
True.
The offensive line did not communicate with each other and let a 2-man rush go right through completely unblocked. So that was just awful execution by the offensive line, just not communicating with each other. Again, it's a situation where I would rather you over-communicate and the defenders know exactly which offensive lineman is going to attempt to block them than you don't know who you're assigned to. Because that's worst case scenario. That's why most offensive lines, you'll hear the center call it out. And the center will say, I've got the mic. I've got 52. I've got this guy. And he'll point to who he's assigned to. And maybe you just need to go back to that where you're just assigning it before the snap. But the next 2 drives were both scores. And those was still the opening script, which is a fantastic thing. So I was very encouraged that they didn't let that get into their head.
Yeah.
It's very easy to have another team come out hot and get you out of your game plan and kind of screw everything up for you. They kept their cool, they kept their calm, they stuck with what they're taught to do, and it worked just fine. So what a blessing it's been for us. We're spoiled because this year, Pittsburgh on the first 3 games got 2 touchdowns and a field goal on the opening drive.
Yeah.
That's more than they scored point-wise all of last year on the opening drives.
That's and great for us this year.
Yeah,
It makes me understand.
Embarrassing, but
It makes me understand where I was mentally last year.
yeah.
Well-
So we should have been frustrated because it wasn't average offense; it was below average offense, and that's what we were just dealing with all these guys that weren't starting quarterbacks, but we were starting at quarterback.
Yeah.
So just a wonderful change of pace to have this. Should we get into the running back room and talk about those guys a little bit?
Oh, absolutely.
Who
Or
wants to
rather,
take-
that guy.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, yes. I mean, don't discredit Caleb Johnson.
No, not at all.
He came in after having he didn't play at all last week, had a rough go the week before with the play. We're not going to go back to it. But Caleb Johnson came out, rushed 6 times for 22 yards. Kenneth Gainwell, though, 19 for 99, 5.2 and 2 touchdowns. Probably, James, I know you mentioned it in our group chat, but probably his greatest game in his career. Did we check that out at all?
It is,
Okay.
yes. It's the first time he's had more than 1 touchdown in a game in his career. So that absolutely was a career best for him, getting 2 touchdowns in the game. And he was a very effective receiver out of the backfield. He even picked up some blitzes well, I thought, in this game. As a pass protector, there were a couple of times where he met a linebacker in the hole and he held his own. So it's nice to see him doing that because that seems to be his main role here, with Jaylen Warren being the feature back. Then Gainwell's the third down guy. You got to be able to pass protect. And I thought he did that well in this game too. So just a tremendous game for him. I thought the coaching staff put a good game plan together and said, you know what, if it isn't working with our regular tight ends, then let's just go super jumbo. Let's bring a 6th offensive lineman out there. Let's put Darnell Washington out there, and let's see if they can stop our beef package. And they couldn't.
Oh, is this what we're calling it now?
Well, and Kenneth Gainwell, let's not shy away from it either. He was also the number 2 receiver on the day.
No, I mean, number 1 in targets, yeah.
Yeah, well, number 2 in terms of yards, and only behind DK Metcalf, who ripped an 80-yard touchdown. So I mean, like, have yourself a day, Kenny Gainwell. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we wanted to see out of this offense, is guys contributing in all phases of the game, and that's what he did. So
Kenneth
just
Gainwell is already over 50% of the way to his best year touchdown wise, almost 40% of the way to his best year yards wise. And he's only played in 4 games. All the other years were 16, 17, 16, 17. So he's more than likely going to have a career year with Pittsburgh. Even if Jaylen Warren comes back and stays healthy all year, he's probably going to play very well and do well. But realistically, I mean, Kenneth Gainwell just earned my respect in the sense, and you're right, James, to an extent, it's probably because of this beef package, because we were able to block well. Oh, drastic. We couldn't run block the first 3 weeks.
His vision was excellent in this game. He found the holes, he found the creases, and he got through them. So, I think you got to give the kid credit too, that he had a great day as far as his vision and finding where he needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
honestly, I should have just said we figured out the run, because not only did we do well on offense with the run, we did well on defense with the run. And so that's what we've been calling for, figuring out the run on both sides of the ball all year. And to see the blocking work, to see the lanes open up, to see Kenny Gainwell go for this monster game. And like Cody said, yeah, we're highlighting Kenny because he was the feature back in this game, but when Johnson was out there, he didn't look bad, and he had a rough go the last game he was out there. So to see him get that confidence back, to see him be able to build on that, and to allow him to sit behind Kenny and to sit behind Jaylen and to have this time to develop as an NFL player and not put him out there in these high pressure situations, that's going to be good for his development. So it builds on our future and it allows us to continue to develop. And what a boost in morale for this offensive line that was struggling to get the run game going, to be able to go into the bye week and improve on that and then continue moving forward. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. This is
I
what
was
we
going to
needed.
say, overall the morale should be like you said, it should be boosted, because at least now with Johnson, he's not going into a bye week still just like sitting on that mistake from 2 weeks ago. We at least like went into the game, had some positive offensive snaps, so he can reflect on that as we go into the bye week, sitting with a victory. And like you said, Nick, like he now gets to sit behind two veterans who are right now looking really great. Again, we don't know status with Warren, what that's going to look like, but still two great guys to be sitting in the room with and learning and developing from them without having to just rush him out onto the field.
And he is the big guy in the room too. So there is still a possibility that they get later on in the season and he takes on like a short yardage type role of being the thumper running back, because the other two are a little smaller, a little shiftier. So who knows what additional roles he'll make, maybe even in future tush push situations, he'll take the Connor Hayward role, right?
Yeah. Well, and then that leads to the point of like, how dynamic can our offense be? When we can utilize these guys for these niche things, like we can really be dynamic as an offense and keep a defense completely clueless and have no idea what we're bringing to the table.
No doubt. And just briefly, who would have thought that we would have A, executed a tush push, B, not even used the quarterback, and C, had it been so incredibly dominant when doing so.
I love just the superhero stance of him just standing there and then just going.
Yeah.
Did you see the memes where it's like you were on a group assignment, but you didn't do any of the work? That's not true for him, but it was just a funny meme. Like, I was like, that was funny.
I mean, ridiculous execution, great idea. Like the concept was perfect. Sure, let Connor Hayward take the snap. The quarterback don't have to take it. When you've got Darnell Washington pushing him through, he's going to get there. Darnell could probably pick him up and throw him over the pile, for crying out loud. He's not that big of a dude. And Darnell is. So I love that was that successful. And I think that's something that maybe they should consider using in the future too, because they did have Connor Hayward out there a decent amount in these jumbo packages. So you can bust that out, in a 3rd and goal at the 1 yard line and have a reasonable success rate, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was trying to do some math real quick because I was curious to see the last 5 years or so, how the Steelers' run game has evolved over the years or over the first 4 weeks. And so if you look back to week 1, the past 5 years, it's 75 rush yards in 21, 75 in 22, 41 in 23. In a loss to San Fran, 137 last year in week 1 versus the Atlanta Falcons. And then if you take a look at week 2 in the past 5 years, only 1 year broke 100 yards rushing, and that was last year against Denver, which Denver had a pitiful defense last year, especially the run defense. And then there was an average of just over 100 yards. But then in the past 5 years, this past week, that was the most rushing yards we've had in week 4 in the past 5 years. So it's exciting to see that Pittsburgh naturally gets better and improves in the run game. However, I mean, the differences was 62 and 21, 119 and 22, 114 and 23, 122 last year, and then 131. And I hope that it continues to improve from there. I was just curious to see if that's something that's been a trend or not. It seems to be. So,
yeah, from just quick recollection, I remember the last few years the running game has drastically improved after the bye week. Typically, they've typically struggled until the bye week, and then after the bye week, been much better. 2 years ago, they were averaging about 100 yards a game before the bye week, and then 150 the rest of the way. So it's reasonable to assume that they'll make some more adjustments and have some success. But I agree with you. It's really promising to see them get that success before the bye week, before having 2 weeks to try to implement a new plan and make those adjustments, just naturally getting better at it. And Minnesota's defense was very good last week. So to do it against their defense too, that's kind of saying something. So,
yeah. Moving, let's take a second to talk receivers because we want to get there before we go offensive line. We talked a little bit about this when we talked about Kenneth Gainwell having 6 catches for 35 yards. which doesn't seem like a lot of yards, but like we said, it was number 2 behind DK. DK 5 receptions for 126, 25.2 average with that 180-yard touchdown. And it's not like the touchdown was thrown way downfield. It was thrown within 20 yards of the line of scrimmage, probably 15, and then he just took off. It reminded me a lot of Santonio Holmes on slants, AB on slants. Getting the ball out quick. That wasn't the only slant we saw DK run. He ran another one for a quick first down earlier in the game. If these guys are going to be not press coverage on DK, take advantage of that quick hit and hit DK or Darnell Washington. These guys are going to fall forward for 5 yards. They're huge.
I like what you said about AB there, because it did remind me a lot of how he used to weave in between guys and make guys miss. And he was a creative runner after the catch, because he would bob one way and then the guy would turn and then he would cut back the other way real quick, and it would make the guy, lose him, and then he'd be gone. And that's not exactly what DK did, but an element of what he did and how he manipulated the field in order to get further down. It's something that we haven't seen as much since AB, and something that I'm happy to see again. So hopefully we see more of that moving forward.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This kind of dynamic receiver is just a game changer. It's not what George Pickens was. George had some athleticism. He was incredible at high pointing a ball, but he didn't do this. That was not something that you worried about him just running away from everyone. It's a whole different level of athlete. And just a tremendous thing to have. What a weapon. I love how they moved him around too. He lined up on the left on the outside, on the right on the outside, even in the slot in this game. So they're trying to make sure that they can't just predict exactly where DK is going to be on every play and then double team him on every single play. Because it's going to happen, especially depending on this Calvin Austin injury and how much time he misses. He did go down with a shoulder injury in this game. He did go to a hospital in Ireland to get checked out. He went on social media afterwards and said, "Don't worry, guys, I'm fine." But reports are saying that they expect him to miss a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So sounds like it's nothing crazy, but also not just a bruise.
Right.
Hopefully some opportunity for Roman Wilson here to see him get more involved. I've been waiting to see him for over a year now. So hopefully we can see a little bit more Roman Wilson out there on the field. And also to highlight what Cody said, our number 3 receiver in terms of yardage and targets was Darnell Washington, who caught all 3 of his targets for 20 yards, averaging 6.7 on the reception, which we've been calling for it. Give the man the ball, let him fall forward. He'll get the yards.
Last season, I said it last season.
Yep.
Just takes us a year and a half to get there.
I've been high on him ever since they nicknamed him the pterodactyl coming out of Georgia, because his wingspan is so long. Get the man the ball. Let him do the thing. He gets 100%.
And James and I have been high on tight ends, getting another solid number 2 tight end, which is hilarious because he's number 3. But we've been high on this ever since, and you guys won't even probably know the name, but Jelani Woods was coming out, and we saw him in one of the senior games, whether it was the Senior Bowl or the East-West Shrine game, and we saw Jelani take off, and he's played very well for the Colts. I don't even think he's with the Colts now. I don't know. But we've seen what teams could do when Brady did stuff with Gronk and Hernandez.
Yeah.
We know what can happen when you get these mismatches with the size and speed. Darnell's not slow. Like, don't get confused. Jonnu's not slow. Pat's not slow. None of these big tight ends are slow. There are some tight ends in the league that don't move quick. That's not our tight ends. And I feel like we haven't been used, and we're still not. Like, I'm still waiting for throws down the center of the field to these tight ends, and we haven't seen it yet. And I think that this will evolve over the course of the year. And unfortunately, I'm sure we're not going to see it until probably later in the year, just because we're slow moving. It's what Pittsburgh does, whatever. I hate it, but it is what it is. Like, we're going to keep evolving this offense. But Darnell, Jonnu, Pat Freiermuth, and I'm actually concerned in this game that Pat didn't get a target.
Not a single target.
I still feel like Aaron feels some type of way about Pat not sitting down in that last week, and he's making him regret it or whatever. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to make Aaron sound bad, but I feel like that's what's happening, because Pat is a phenomenal receiving tight end. I don't know why you wouldn't scheme him to be open on at least one play a week. So the fact that he got no targets is concerning for me. But yeah, Darnell, three receptions for 20 yards. Calvin Austin 2 for 13 before the injury. Jonnu 2 for 6. Unfortunately, Jonnu's getting the balls thrown to him at the line of scrimmage, which still ticks me off. But I mean, this was a lot better to see what can happen when we start moving guys and getting the ball out quickly down the field. Pass the ball past the line of scrimmage while they're moving downfield. It's very hard to pass it to someone who's then stationary, and then they have to get ahead of steam. Once the ball's out and players know, hey, it's going to right or left side, they take off. You now have 3 or 4 or 5 guys running at you to somewhat full speed, and you got to try and maneuver around. Hopefully your guys are getting blocks, and hopefully you can get ahead of steam before you make contact with somebody. But this was very exciting, again, to see the DK slant once or twice, to see Darnell getting involved. I'm excited to see what we can do. And again, if Darnell's our number 3 and he was the number 3 receiver in this game, I'm excited to see what happens once these tight ends start getting targeted 10, 12 times a game.
Well, and I don't think I necessarily, I know there's like a weight with like who's the number 2, who's the number 3, but I don't know if we necessarily scheme to that. Because again, like he had 48 snaps in this game, which is wonderful. And then we arguably had our best running game because we have our number 1 blocking tight end playing 48 snaps.
Beef set.
Like it just, the math.
And who pulled on the touchdown? Was it Pat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Pat had an excellent block. He was put in motion and became the lead blocker on the play. So you got to give him credit. He's still putting effort out there. Unfortunately, he's going to have to work on his field goal protect mode there, as he was the one who allowed the block to happen, unfortunately. But outside of that, he's just got to keep his nose to the grind. If he's open, Aaron's going to throw it to him. I just think that he kind of has to earn his trust back a little bit, which sucks because he is such a reliable target. He catches such an incredibly high percentage of the balls thrown his way, but you can't catch it if it's not thrown your way. So that's the only thing that's kind of frustrating, is that as the team gets better and continues, we've got 18 completed passes. It was overall a good offensive performance on the day. I don't know what tight end didn't even get involved. And Calvin Austin, our number 2 wide receiver, was barely involved.
Yeah.
So these guys just got to be patient, understand that their time will come. And, it could easily be that, this next game against the Browns, they triple team DK and we got to use the tight ends all game long. So I would encourage Pat, because I know he's listening, to keep the game. And it could be as very simple as next game he's going to get 6 or 7 balls thrown his way just because of opportunity. And I expect the Browns to put a lot of focus on DK in that game.
Yeah. Well, and I think that also just a little off track, but I feel like that speaks to our culture for a lot of the guys that we do keep in the locker room. They're not the it's all about me show. We are getting rid of those guys because they bring toxicity to the locker room. So if it's all about you and you only want targets, you're going to be the reason we lose the game. I feel like somebody like Pat will keep his nose to the ground and do what he needs to do, put in the dirty work when he needs to do it to prove that he's there for the team. It's not just for him. So
yeah.
You guys want to talk offensive line a little bit?
Let's talk it.
Yeah.
Let's talk it.
So I felt like 4 out of the 5 guys had a very good game. And the 4th one or the 5th one was only bad in pass protection. Both sacks I had on Isaac Seumalo. So kind of a bad look for him when there's only 2 sacks allowed and both of them come right at him. In the run game, though, I thought he was very good, and I thought the rest of the offensive line was good in both categories. And honestly, it goes so well with what we were talking about the first couple weeks, right? First week, awful week for Broderick Jones. Second week, not great, but a step in the right direction. Third week, we're like, okay, yeah, I think he had a decent game. I think he had a good game.
Yeah.
I think we can say that Broderick had a good game. And that's what we're hoping
Hats
for.
off, Broderick.
Hats off. That's what we're hoping for, is that he just gets more comfortable as the year goes on, gets into the rhythm of things. And I felt like he had a good game. So, and let's call it what it is, the 6th offensive lineman, Spencer Anderson, out there moving bodies and really creating some big holes. So a very effective day for the running game. I thought they were moving in unison well, hitting the timing on their running blocks well, and getting to the second level and getting after the linebackers and safeties well. So I'm pretty happy with what the offensive line put on paper for us in this game. And I was listening to Steelers Depot, as any of our listeners know, we're big fans of Steelers Depot here. And Dave said that he thought this was Mason McCormick's best game of his career.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really saying something.
I love the video, or just the scene going to commercial with him sitting on the ground doing the
yes,
first downs.
He's having fun.
That changes it.
And having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Aaron was having fun. I mean, I hope these guys lighten up and stuff. And that's, you can say what you want. I feel like there's two drastically different NFL coaching styles. You see Dan Campbell, who's just hard, rough, tough-nosed guy. And then Tomlin, who's so laid back with his guys and probably very lenient on a lot of things. And it's fun to watch our team have fun winning. It's enjoyable to see. And they were in Dublin. They were, there was probably a lot of things. They played Renegade over there, which was great.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh was asked, what can we do to make this more of a home game for you? They brought their announcer over. So during the game, I was like, I heard it's third down. And I was like, that's their guy. And somebody was like, that's a recording. I was like, no, it's not. That's their guy. So it was cool that they were able to do that. And it's just fun to watch them have fun. And you play better when you're like that. So
Absolutely.
let's bounce over to defensive side of the ball. I thought defensive line had probably the best game we've seen out of a defensive line in years, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time we got that many quarterback hits, that many sacks from a defensive line. You had Keanu Benton got 1.5.
Redemption game for him.
Oh my gosh, redemption game. He had another tackle for loss, 3 quarterback hits. He was very involved. I thought that Cam Hayward, although not a lot of stats reported for him, was getting a lot of decent penetration and forcing the ball out quick or forcing bad pass. Was it Cam that Carson hit his hand on?
I don't know, but I was impressed with our line as a whole having 3 batted passes. TJ had one, Jack Sawyer had one, and Derek Harmon had one.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. To be able to have your guys up front getting their arms up, and Cam's normally the one who's known for that. He didn't even get one this game. Not putting anything down on him, but it was
by my
amazing.
count, he had 2 in the game, just didn't get credit for either one.
Yeah.
He tipped the ball before TJ Watt intercepted it, which is what made it come into his hands so softly. And then he had one earlier in the game that he just kind of grazed that they didn't give him credit for. So 2 more there that weren't even given credit for the team. But,
monster game by the team, padding passes.
Yeah. And Joe, you're 100% right. A redemption game for Keanu Benton. He needed this in the worst way.
Yes.
As much as Broderick Jones needed it, Keanu Benton needed it too. And now you get to go into the bye week. He gets to heal up a little bit because he's had a brace on his elbow this whole time. So that elbow is going to get a little time to heal up. And he's coming off of his best game of the season, maybe his best game of his career so far, because he's not been a guy to get to the quarterback a whole ton. So awesome, I thought, from him. In just a stout game for this defensive line. They didn't get pushed around. They held their own against a good running game. Now, I know that offensive line for the Vikings was pretty banged up and got worse as the game went on. But the defensive line said, no, this is our line of scrimmage, not yours. And I love how they handled it in this game.
And I mean, Herbig was out there like guarding their starting left tackle, like their starter. He wasn't going up against the second and third string. He was going up against the starter and dominated.
Pro Bowler Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah.
Beating him like a drum.
Yeah.
1.5 sacks and a tackle for loss for Herbig. Absolutely insane.
I'm mad at myself. I am so mad at myself because I forgot to mention something on the offensive side, and you guys are talking about that comparison of going up against a Pro Bowler, and I completely forgot to give the shout out to Ben Skoranek on the one blocking play, blocking a linebacker.
Special teams.
Oh my gosh!
And how about Skoranek's penalty that he drew there? Good job on him for that one there.
Please.
Yeah.
I don't mean to go back to offense, but that needed to be talked about briefly.
Yeah. And let's give Skoranek credit. It's not really going to show up in the stat lines, but he was great in every aspect of this game. His blocking was incredible. His
What a
special
gunner.
teams play even better yet.
Yep.
His ability to bait a guy into a free 15-yard penalty. Everything
Bring
about it.
him
I love
back.
the effort that this guy puts out there. I wanted them to sign him from last season back this season in the worst way. And when I saw that it was more than a minimum contract, I said, thank God they understand the value of this kid because he's irreplaceable as a special teamer and he's still good on offense.
Yeah.
Great game by Ben Skoranek, and it's going to be like a stat line of 0 other than his tackles. But I thought he had a fantastic game.
Never let him leave, as James said in our group chat over the weekend.
Yeah.
And then you want to talk about guys having fun. Keanu's return game or revenge game. He was having fun. That's not what I wanted to show. He was having
But
fun.
do stop by the Edinburgh Hotel bar, though.
He was having a good time.
Big old smile on his face.
With the grass and the freaking thing. So no, let's. I mean, we've already kind of bounced out a little bit. Well, let's talk Derek Harmon. Like realistically, second game as an NFL player, I thought he had a ton of penetration, a ton of great blocks, not a lot of stats recorded. But I this defensive front, really those front four guys, five guys, Cam, Keanu, Keanu, Derek Harmon, even six if you want to count Jack Sawyer, Nick Herbig, and TJ Watt, really provided a lot of consistent pressure. And it was enjoyable to see. But overall, the guys that didn't have stats gave the other guy stats. Like the sacks came from pressure from other areas and forcing Carson Wentz to move around in and outside of that pocket. It was very nice to see an all-around front unit providing pressure and not just TJ getting through or Cam getting through.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Well, and going back to last week, too, you saw an improvement in the run defense with Harmon elevated on back to the roster. And then you see an increased improvement now with him getting an increased share of snaps. I don't have the exact percentages in front of me at the moment, but to see that line shored up and then an improvement in the run game, and now we get the bye week to continue on with that. I'm excited to see how much more we can improve in our run defense and hopefully get some of these guys back from injury to have a more complete, holistic roster and not be trying to piecemeal it together. We could see a much more elite unit come out of this bye week and continue to build moving forward.
Yeah, I thought that it was a night and day difference with Derek Harmon in their week 3 as far as the run defense. And then it got a step better with the addition of Deshaun Elliott.
Yes.
So we finally get a healthy Deshaun Elliott back, and not just to jump into the safety room. I just feel like he's such an important contributor, and he gets to the backfield way faster than the other safeties. So when it is a run play, when it is a screen play, he's up there, man. Tremendous difference in just getting your starting defenders back.
Well, and another element to that too is I felt like Patrick Queen was getting a lot more penetration on the line too, with a sack and I believe a couple other pressures as well. Tackle for loss, I believe. He had himself a game too, and when you get that going on, it's insane.
3 TFLs. Woo.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about Queen, you got to talk about Peyton Wilson. I mean, I feel like he had himself just a stellar game, which is funny because I was talking with people beforehand and I'm like, it's just not exactly what we've wanted from him so far. And I'm like, thank you for proving me wrong. Thank you for just absolutely making me look like I know nothing. Like, the fact that he got up to like 22 miles per hour on that rundown.
Over 22 and a half.
Yeah, like that, I dogged him for his relying on athleticism, where I'm like, on that play, you kicked it into high gear. You shaved almost a minute off of the clock in like crucial time instead of just giving up and letting it happen. Like he gave it everything he had.
I read a post that it in total with how long it all took was 61 seconds off the clock in total.
Crucial.
Because of his rundown. So it derives them from extra time to march it down the field when we decide to punt on a 4th and a foot, which questionable decision making. There you go, Cody. I question Tomlin.
We got to talk about those 2 4th. We have to. We have to at some point.
But even still, like just to cut out a minute and a second out
Yes.
of the time they had left when we decide not to then try and go for it on a 4th and a fraction of a yard. It makes all the difference. It puts more pressure on them. They have to hurry up. It forces the errors, and that was another part of the game too. We played cleaner football than they did. We only had 5 penalties. They had 8,
Yeah.
and it was a massive difference in terms of yardage for us as well. Put them
Right.
into trickier situations than we were in, and gave us an edge in that game as well. So, playing cleaner football wins you games.
Crazy
Go
how
figure.
that works.
Yeah.
But like, even though that that ended with them eventually scoring, it's still in the long run. I think it saved us the game. You shaved a minute off of that time. That saved us more than even if they wouldn't have scored. If we would have only taking that much time off the clock because of the sheer effort you put in to stop the play was just incredible.
Yeah, just an awesome performance from both middle linebackers. I felt like Patrick Queen was getting better every game. And this was just like a culmination of an awesome game for him. And definitely Peyton Wilson's best performance. And one of the things that we talked about pre-game is I was talking about how we needed to see middle linebackers blitzing through the A-gaps. Patrick Queen got his sack blitzing through the A-gap. Deshaun Elliott got his because Peyton Wilson blitzed through the A-gap. Carson Wentz had to duck to not get run over by him, and then Deshaun Elliott cleaned it up. So twice we got sacks because of the middle linebackers blitzing through the A-gap and blitzing very effectively. But these guys were awesome against the run. Peyton Wilson blowing up screen plays by himself. He was everywhere in this game.
Yes.
And probably earned himself more playing time going forward. It's not that Cole Holcomb was bad in the game, just Cole Holcomb kind of played. He was also out there. He wasn't bad. He wasn't amazing. But the other two were amazing in this game. And what a blessing, man. When you get all these guys firing on all full cylinders and then getting the pressure that we're getting out of T.J. Watt and Herbig on the sides and then eventually a healthy Highsmith back. You never know. He might be healthy for that game against the Browns. That's 2 weeks from now. That ankle could be good to go by then.
Yeah.
I think that the pressure in the way these guys are playing together right now is incredible. But as good as the front seven is, I'm a little worried about the health on the back four now because it seems like the cornerback room, everyone is hurt. So safety room's finally healthy. Here comes the corners, and they're all hurt.
Looking at the middle linebacker room for a minute there, we had Peyton Wilson with 2 tackles for loss, 1 QB hit. And then we had Patrick Queen with 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, 1 QB hit. And then Cole Holcomb with 0-0-0. But he had 2 tackles, so he was out there, like you said. But really good to see our starting to put in some solid numbers on that line there.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I thought Deshaun Elliott. Let's go to the secondary now. Deshaun Elliott was incredible in this game, getting himself a sack, an interception to seal the game, a forced fumble. Like he just was everywhere. What a game from him. And just an incredible thing to have him back on that defense. There was obviously, we'll talk about it, the blown play on defense that Peyton Wilson tracks down Jordan Addison. It happens because of a blown assignment. And that happened because there was no healthy corners left on the field. Ramsey was out at this point. Porter obviously didn't play. Eccles wasn't on the field on this play. So Slay was out there, but Slay was hurt too.
Right.
And Pierre was the only other healthy corner. I think he was the only corner that left this game that wasn't healthy. That was healthy, I should say.
Right.
That didn't get injured during the game. So I hated to see guys get past the first level, but Chuck Clark just kind of watched them run right by and didn't even turn and go with them. And I get it. He's probably not going to catch Jordan Addison, but if it's slightly underthrown, maybe you get him. And he just let him run right by and didn't go. So I was like, what the hell, man? Incredible job by Peyton Wilson to track that down. He had no business being able to catch him. But he sure as heck did. He sure as heck did. And I think he's the fastest guy on our defense. I don't think any of the DBs are faster than him.
Yeah, has to be.
There's no way. There's no way.
He was a low 440s guy, wasn't he? I want to say he was like a 4.41 or a 4.42 or something.
Yeah, and the 4.4s.
It's got to be somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully with the bye week, we can at least get some of these corners healthy. Because I mean, at the start of the season, we all were talking about like, man, our corner room, and now we're like, oh no, our corner room.
I think that's been part of the issue too with the defense is that the plan was for Ramsey to be able to play a lot of safety, and then Elliott goes down week 1. Now he has to stay at corner because Joey Porter Jr. was down week 1. It sounds like Joey was almost ready for this game, so I expect him back on the next one. But Ramsey's got a hamstring now, and they're talking that he's probably going to miss a few weeks. So now we're going back to probably Porter and Slay, which is still great. But assuming Eccles is good, then that's going to be your top 3. It's unfortunate that we can't get this secondary all healthy at the same time.
Yeah.
But it does lead me to wonder that is that 53rd man going to end up being Corey Trice instead of Will Howard now? Because you might need the extra healthy bodies in that corner room rather than a third quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or are we going to see Beanie Bishop make his way back on the roster as well in terms of needing more corner help? So you've got is Corey Trice ready to go in terms because he's had an injury history, so we'll have to see what's going on there.
He said he would have been ready to go week 1, but they put him on IR. So
hopefully that's the case, and hopefully that wasn't just him being the guy that he is wanting to get out there. I'm sure if it was me and I was in that situation, I'd want to be out there as soon as I could. Just the competitive nature of it all, but also just for record's sake, Peyton Wilson ran a 4.43 on his official 40-yard dash coming into the NFL. So
lightning
speed demon. So glad that the NFL decided that the injury was too much of a concern for them and let him fall to us where he did. But we'll take it.
Yep, happily.
Yeah, and twice on Sundays. But just overall, I thought the defense as a whole performed very well in the sense of obviously late in the game, they allowed a lot of things. The Peyton Wilson play saved the game in any way you want to put it. He saved the game. But when it came down to it, I mean, the bend don't break mentality kind of held true. You still don't want to see them make that late game run. But I called for I think I called for the 2 stats from backups. I didn't really get that. You got some pass defended that you could classify from backups for this game. But I'm excited to move forward because I feel like other teams are now starting to see the depth that we have. That outside linebacker position, the cornerback room. I mean, James Pierre coming in and playing the way he did. Chuck Clark being able to come in. Juan Thornhill being able to come in.
Yeah.
These guys are coming out.
Close to
I know, so close. These guys are coming out and proving that, hey, when our starters go off to get a rest, you're not getting a break. You don't get to just have your way with this defense because our starters are on the sideline. And that is going to be very impactful, I think, moving forward and changing how teams have to play us.
I think Chuck Clark got one of those forced fumbles. So you got halfway there to your statistics, Cody. Yeah. Yeah, I think you got credited with one of those forced fumbles. So you almost hit the 2 on there. Do we want to kick over to special teams then and talk about that?
The one we missed. Yeah, let's talk special teams. It wasn't that special this week other than a couple guys making some plays, I guess you could say. But
yeah, I mean, it sucks for Boswell because it's not his fault, Just Pat missed the block and the field goal got blocked because of it. So that sucks. Skoranek again had an awesome game on coverage, so we'll give him credit on there. All the snaps were good from Christian Kuntz, per the usual. And then Waitman, I thought, had a good game again as well. So it seems like he's putting some consistency together, which is great. But, the elephant in the room here is we can talk about it, and I'll even open it because I'm usually the Tomlin defender out of it. I didn't like those 4th down decisions either, guys. Running the ball on 4th and 3, I didn't care for that. Going for it, I'm okay with. But running the ball on 4th and 3 when it's the 3-yard line trying to get a touchdown, I would never do that. It's too far. It's not like you had like a Jerome Bettis type running back that you're running 200-pound Kenny Gainwell. That's asking a lot of him, and he almost got it. But it's just asking too much. And then after going for it on 4th and 3 to not go for it on 4th and less than a yard,
That made me so.
especially after having a successful tush push earlier.
That's what I was gonna say. You had a
Well,
you
successful
didn't even
tush
need
push
Aaron
earlier.
Rodgers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
frustrating. Very frustrating play call
I mean-
decisions, especially for a coach who says he doesn't live in his fears. It seems like he got bold on the 4th and 3 and then lived in his fears on the 4th and short.
Well, and that's what I think. Like was also listening to Steelers Depot, so shout out. But because it was like, Tomlin typically does live in his fears, and we did go out like we were going to kick it, and I feel like there was some pushback from the offense saying like, no, we want to go for it, but then the ball was just
you can't do that.
not good. Like I'd rather have it in Aaron's hands where he can like hit. I mean, anybody, just not running it into the end zone.
Yeah.
But I mean, personally, I still think I would have taken the points to kick the field goal and gone up because at that point, we were 24-14.
Yeah.
So it would have been 27-14. I like sitting at that, like the more points at that point in the game, the better. But on the 4th and half a yard, and after we had already successfully done that, like a tush push, I was so baffled when historically we weren't down by a lot, or we weren't up by a lot, and we've blown games like that in less amount of time. So I just was like, this is garbage. We're going to lose the game and you deserve it now.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
So
I mean, that's technically, you could argue that I think one of them made sense to me, but I don't know how I felt about all of them. And the fact of the miscommunication in the sense of the team wasn't unified on that decision.
mm-hmm.
Aaron's waving them off. Special teams. Boswell was on the field at one point and then walked back off. I mean, just make a decision or trust your quarterback or whatever. I did not like the run play on that goal line. It was too far to go.
Yes.
But
make it look like a run and then throw it. You have the
we didn't do that once.
Right.
In my recollection, we didn't throw once out of that super heavy package. If I'm not mistaken.
You have that super heavy package that's been working. Now use it to trick them into thinking you're doing it again instead of actually doing it again. And you have possibly Darnell open in the slot. You have possibly, like, if you get an extra lineman out there and they report as eligible, they're an eligible receiver, so you could do some trickery there. Like, there are options that you have, and you had this play working. So, yes, I understand why you want to go to it, but use that to your advantage and do something different that should work better because now they're expecting it. And that's why it failed, in my personal opinion.
I mean, that's the whole point of play calling on offense in general is run something enough that teams are scared of it, and then run something else out of the same formation, same package, same play, whatever it is. That's scheming. That's how you do it. And it just felt like, especially with Aaron being so much wanting to go for that, I felt like he would have wanted to have that play in his hands and made the throw. And it is just a weird situation to watch unfold.
Absolutely. So that kind of wraps up that portion of it, but we've got a new portion of the show that we're going to do here with Nick's idea here. He thinks that we should each give out a game ball to our player of the game. He has actually selected to go last because he's so comfortable with all his choices. So that means we all get an opportunity to do so. And anyone have any strong inclinations they want to go first? Cody's pointing towards Jill.
I'm pointing towards Jill because I know who she's going to choose, and it's going to clear that from being one of my choices.
So. Really? You know who I'm going to choose?
I might have just changed it by saying that, but yes.
Go with somebody else,
Well,
Jill. Go with somebody else.
To be fair, I have 4 people as well that so
great minds.
Excuse you. I have 4 people. But I am going to give it to Peyton Wilson for me. Yep, I was Peyton Wilson. I mean, the effort that I saw from him for this game. Thank you, Nick, for the tiny claps. Yes. The effort that I saw from him for this game and just literally laying everything out on the field was just truly incredible. Best game that he's played this season. So the ball goes to him.
Awesome.
James, I'm going to let you go next.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to give my game ball to Keanu Benton. An excellent game from him. He needed it in the worst way. And honestly, the team kind of needed it just for like the future outlook of the unit. the whole defensive line. Do we have the guys or do we not? Derek Harmon looks like he's going to be one of the guys going forward. We need Keanu Benton to be one of those guys. And he showed in this game that he can be and kind of took the game over. Just very disruptive in the backfield all game long. Only got credited with 1.5 sacks. I felt like he had his hands on a few more than that. And some of them just kind of got given to some other guys, which is perfectly fine. When you get 6 sacks in a game, it's tough to complain about it. But Benton, extremely disruptive in this game, not just getting after the quarterback, but against the run as well. And just what the doctor ordered for him. So my game ball going to Keanu Benton.
I like it. Well, if Nick's going last, that puts me up next. My game ball is going to go to the one and only DK Metcalf, coming out and having the 5 receptions or 6 receptions, for 5 receptions for 126 yards and that touchdown. And just coming in and kind of being the big brother. I feel like he's that big protective brother, performing well, being present when he's not involved in the play. We haven't seen it yet for us, and I know we're going to, where he does the little runoff and puts the hands up and just make sure the guy running the ball, whoever, quarterback, whatever, can get there. He's just an all-around good teammate. And seeing him the first play when he caught the ball and he's just doing this and holding the ball up to his chest, he's just saying, I'm bigger than y'all. I'm going to run all over you. And this was the first time we got to see him do it in the black and gold. So DK Metcalf gets my game ball.
I have a supporting statement on that too, Cody. To your point of him being such a good teammate, there was a short yardage play, and I think it might have been the tush push, where Ben Skoranek was on the edge blocking, and 3 Minnesota Vikings just kind of started beating up on him, and the play was over. And DK went over like he was ready to fight all of them for doing it. So I absolutely love that. Stick up for your teammates, have each other's back. Mm-hmm. I think that had everything to do with Skoranek successfully baiting one of them into a penalty earlier and them thinking they could get away with some dirty play there. And DK was like, nope, that's my little brother. You mess with him, you mess with me. And I love that mindset from bigger players. Make sure you got those other guys back. Not that Ben's small, but nobody's bigger at wide receiver than DK.
That's fair.
Yep.
I'm a little surprised because I actually have 2 guys in my mind left that I'd be willing to give a game ball to, but I'm gonna go off of one of my guys. So I think Jill and I might have been kind of on the same wavelength here a little bit. But I'm gonna go with Kenneth Gainwell for mine. Just the dominant game that he had out there, 99 rushing yards, 35 receiving yards, going out, throwing some decent blocks too in some of those plays there that needed to happen, chipping some guys. Just going out there, being a team guy and laying it all out there, playing a lot bigger than his size is the way I like to put it.
Yeah.
It was like my grandparents had this toy schnauzer growing up, and we always said he had big dog syndrome because he'd go and he'd fight any dog that came around, and they'd turn the other way and run because he was just so tenacious. And that's what I saw out of Kenneth Gainwell, is that big dog mentality from a smaller guy. Love to see it out of him. I wish I could have also given one to Deshaun Elliott, but I will give one.
Don't even bring it up. That's not fair. No,
I'm
I'm
not
not
giving
going
it
to
to
know
him.
it.
I'm
You know
it
what's
to him.
funny though?
I'm not giving it to him. I'm giving it to Gainwell.
I was gonna say out of the 4 that I have, only one of them you guys mentioned. The other 2 nobody mentioned. So
wow.
Dang. Okay. Well,
So that's our new game ball section, everyone. Thanks for
maybe we'll never know.
Thanks for entertaining my idea. Maybe it'll become a thing, but
I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody, want to go home?
Yeah. So with that being said, that's going to wrap up the preview show for the Steelers versus Vikings Ireland edition, Dublin, whatever you want to call it. What?
Review, not preview.
Review. My apologies. Review show.
Recap.
double win.
A win in Dublin. You know what I'm saying? And so we can't thank you guys enough for being here. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe. Ring the bell. It's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. Don't forget the 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Make James very, very happy. And until next time, this is your host, James, Cody, Nick Pretzel, and Jill from Ohio. Signing off.